Hey everybody, it's Jameson. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm feeling a little patriotic. I had a request for a commission, and so I was going to work on a project. I've never done this one before and thought I'd just run the camera. So we'll see if it turns out well. So the request that I got was for an 8x10 framed flag. And so I said, well, you know, an 8x10 is not the true dimensions of the US flag. That was, you know, it's actually wider than that. And I said, what if I did something, you know, that was a little more representational of a flag, representative of a flag? And so I shared this picture with her and she loved it, and so we're gonna go with this. Here's a quick tip for you. I got this picture off of a site called Pixabay, P-I-X-A-B-A-Y. I'll post a link to it. Pixabay is a free site with images, and they're all free, royalty free. You can download them and use them. And so I always check Pixabay because I like to see what they have, and that's how I found this, and I just thought it was really awesome. So it's clearly the back of a flag. I'm not gonna do it as the back of the flag. I got this essentially as kind of a template here. I'm not gonna try to represent the stitching. I'm not obviously gonna be able to, at least, well, I'm not gonna be able to, maybe you would, but I'm not gonna be able to represent the fabric and kind of folds and stuff. I'm just going for straight cuts of glass. Because it's you know, made up of several components, I'm gonna have to use 2 sheets of glass, so 6 millimeters, so I may have to get creative with how this is framed. We'll tackle that later. And for the stars, I decided to use some waterjet cut stars that I got from the Glass Underground. So I just looked at this and I printed this on 8x10 and thought these are about 3/4 inch. They have a white waterjet cut star that's 3/4 inch, so I ordered those, so we'll place those later too. And for my glass selection, I'm using dense white only because I have a sheet of this and I just want to use it up. It's not going to react with the red or anything. I do have beautiful red 124. I like to use this in flags. And then this aventurine blue, which I think is gorgeous as the blue part here, all bullseye glass. And I'm going to cap it with tekta. So I'm going to cut strips, and you can see, you know, this one's wider, this one's skinnier. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to pick, you know, a width. What's this one? 1.5 inches. I may just go with 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, you know, all the way across. Keep it easy on myself. Not going for a lot of, you know, representation, exact representation of the photo. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I'm gonna cut this glass. I'm going to get this laid out, and then I'm going to cap it with clear, a sheet of clear tekta, fire it. Then I'm gonna come back and place my stars on top of the clear, and there's gonna be a little bit of depth between the clear and this aventurine and then the stars. And I'll go back in probably for a kind of a contour fuse on those. So stay tuned. Let's get this glass cut. Okay, I'm not sure if this is gonna make any more sense to anybody else but me in my head, but here's how I've decided to do this. So with this being my pattern, I've cut out the blue portion so that I know what shape I need to cut out of my glass there. And I'm gonna just do 1.5 inch wide stripes that are going to be at least 8 inches long, a little bit longer than that, so that I have some margin to trim off the sides. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 white ones, and I'm gonna call that 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. I'll go ahead and cut 4 red ones. In fact, I'm probably gonna make 2 pieces at once here, so I'll cut 8 of these. So I'm gonna cut my blue piece using this as a template times 2, and then I'm gonna cut my strips, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna do to get the right shape. Okay, so I got everything cut. I need to do a little cleanup work. You may have seen me use this little light board. I found this actually at a Goodwill store or secondhand store, and it was unused, but check that out. You can get this super thin. See how small this is? And it's super lightweight. You could find similar ones on Amazon, 15, 16, 17 bucks or something. I got this for $3 and it had never been used. I had to peel the top off, but it's just a nice super lightweight and small light board, and allowed me to do a little tracing there. So just a quick tip on that. This plugs into USB. So what I got to do is I've got to clean this up a little bit, just clean up the edges, and then I'm going to cut a piece of tekta to put over the top of this and take it into the kiln at a full fuse. In case you were wondering what this was, or you know what it is, and you were wondering what the heck I did to it, here's at the top, there's a video link. You can go back and check out another video on this thing. I talk about it extensively there. Okay, sorry for any noise. I've got the fans on, so I'm just going to talk a little louder. So what you saw me doing there was grinding off the edges, because I have the frame here, and I popped the back out of the frame. I just buy these at Hobby Lobby. And so I opened up the back, popped and kept this, you know, rigid back here, but then took the frame glass out. And you know, I measured, of course, but I knew the glass would grow a little bit. It just, you know, was uncertain exactly if it would fit. And so I measured it I didn't measure it, I just gave it a try, and it did not fit. So now I took it to the grinder and took off some of the edges and got it to fit in here. This has to go back in because I'm going to put the stars on the front. It might grow just a little bit more, but if it does, and I don't care about having a ground edge at the end, because it's going to be behind the frame anyway. So if it grows a little bit, I'll just take it back to the grinder the next time around and we'll be good to go. But that gives you a sense of what that's going to look like in there. So when I get the stars, I'll add those on here and show you what that looks like. I did a really long bubble squeeze on this. Actually, you know, not any different, I guess, than some of my other pieces. I'll post the schedule, but I did a nice slow ramp and a good bubble squeeze. And I'm real pleased with the way it turned out. I mean, there are some bubbles in there, but that's glass, and I actually kind of love the bubbles. You could flip this and use the back. This is nice, you know, look as well. You could put the stars over here, but I think I want to use the front just because. But certainly I could have flipped it, and when I put the stars on, use the back if I want. Got either way. The second piece that I did, you know, if you're cutting one, cut two, right? So I'm doing a second piece. That first one is a commission, but then I figured I'd go ahead and make a second piece and just sell it. I didn't get the same frame. This is a little bit different frame. So, same thing, I popped the back out of this frame and put this in. It didn't quite fit, but I think this opening's just slightly bigger, so I had to take just a little bit off. You saw me taking a little bit more off. And again, it might grow a little bit, but I think that this is a really nice frame. I think this is gonna look really cool. One of the things I did not show you is that when I pieced this back together, so I cleaned all the pieces after I cut them and pieced it all back together on the kiln shelf directly, there was a gap down here right in the corner, and I didn't like that gap. I wasn't too concerned about it filling in. I thought it would, but I was concerned about it creating a big bubble. This was blue aventurine. I happen to have some blue aventurine fine, I think is what it was. And so I put some fine grit in there to kind of fill that hole, and it worked perfectly. On the back, if you were going to flip this and use the back, you can kind of see a little bit of a line there where the frit kind of filled in, but I don't intend to use the back. I intend to use the front. So I'm pleased with using that frit to kind of fill that gap in. You totally can't see on the front, and I don't know, but I feel like it helped me avoid a big bubble. So let's add the stars and fire it again. Okay, so my stars arrived from the Glass Underground, and I am ready to apply them. And as you might be able to see on there, there's often a little tag on a waterjet cut piece. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, can you see that? And so these guys are so small and delicate. I mean, there are different ways in which to kind of remove that tag. Just taking a grinder to it's probably the easiest, but this guy is too small. I can't do a grinder, so I've just got my Dremel and a little diamond bit on there. And all I do is just knock that off very carefully. Got my glasses on. I should have a mask on too, but I'm just trying to show you what this looks like before I do all of them. So that's all. I'm just very carefully trying to take some of that material off. So that doesn't stand out in the fusing. That looks a little better. I'll work on it a little bit more, but that's about it. And here's another way to accomplish this in case you don't have a Dremel. I've got these little diamond files, and I mean, if it were a bigger piece, you could use a diamond hand pad, but this little diamond file works well as well. Perhaps almost better than the Dremel. So you decide. Okay, I've got the little tabs or burrs off of all of these, and I've kind of arranged them the way I think I want them on here. I'm using hairspray. This is just liquid hairspray. I mean, plain old White Rain extra hold, I guess. You know, I got this at the dollar store, truly, unscented. This is a great little adhesive, and I got these little needle bottles, and so I can just put a little bitty dot, and that'll keep it on there well enough to dry and then get me over to the kiln. All right, they're done. I say they because I ended up making two of them, and I couldn't be more excited. So here's the first one in its final form and in its frame. I am thrilled with the way the stars fused on there. I love the look in this frame. It's kind of a, you know, weathered wood look, and it's just gorgeous. So this frame came from Hobby Lobby. I attached the hanging hardware to it. The 6mm glass fit back in there just fine. I didn't have to do any more cold working to it. And then I could put the back in the frame, and I closed the little clips, and now I'm adding some white tape just to kind of clean that up and to cover up those clips. I happen to just, I really like the Gorilla brand. This stuff is super strong. And so I'll finish that off and it'll be done. I have another frame, a little bit different look, kind of the same effect though. This weathered white barn wood kind of look. The back on this is a little bit different. So this one has a stand for a shelf, and it has a tiny little hook here for hanging. So I'm gonna recommend to the buyer, so this one I couldn't get to clamp back in and clip because the design of it is a little bit different. So I put the backing on, but it is not clipped in. It is simply taped on with this tape, which is truly very, very strong. And I think if you're just displaying it on a shelf with your kickstand here, it's fine. If you want to hang it, I would not trust it. So I will recommend to the buyer that since it's a wood frame, to put some mounting hardware, maybe draw a wire across here or put some mounting hardware on the top if they intend to hang it. But there again, very, very pleased with how these two pieces turned out. If you enjoyed this video and like following along, please subscribe to the channel. I try to publish at least once a month, twice a month, sometimes 3 or 4 times a month. So follow along, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about Old Glory here. I hope you're doing very well. Happy May, everybody. Bye-bye.